And welcome back to the talk show. Let's talk about with Richa. And welcome to the fifth season. I'm so excited to have you here. And today we have a lovely woman, Penelope Jane Smith, who is a financial freedom mentor. Welcome, Penelope, to us.
Thank you so much, Risha. So excited to be here with you.
I'm so honored. I'm so happy to have you on. Penelope, could you tell us a little bit what is financial freedom and a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good place to start because financial freedom means different things to different people,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you have a definition, Richa, for what it means to you?
Yes. For me, it is where I feel that I have the buying power for anything that I want to buy. Yeah.
Okay, so being able to buy anything you want to buy. For some people, it's not having any debt. For some people, it's owning their home free and clear.
Yeah.
And for some of them, it's, making enough money that they don't have to depend on their spouse and they can cover either contribute to the household or cover all their expenses independently. And so financial freedom is a spectrum, right? There's everything from being in financial crisis, not able to pay your bills, all the way to building wealth and legacy and estate planning and everything like that. So there's like 8 milestones on what I call the path to prosperity. And each one of them brings more freedom and ease and peace around money. So when you have enough money to pay all your bills and buy everything you want, hey, there's freedom there. When you don't have any debt that feels like a burden, hey, there's freedom there, and so forth and so on, right? And so the eighth and final milestone on that journey is when the passive income from your assets more than covers all of your expenses.
Mm, mm,
At that point, you're totally at choice with what you do with your time, because your assets are going to keep paying for your lifestyle, whether you're working or sleeping or playing. So to me, that's the ultimate. So when I talk about financial freedom, I'm talking about that whole journey, but like ultimately arriving at where your passive income is greater than your expenses.
mm,
Because
mm.
freedom is one of my highest values, Richa. And so like that's what we want, for everybody and women especially, because I don't know if you know this, but in the whole financial planning industry, there's a gender bias like baked in, like in a lot of industries. So
Yeah.
86% of financial advisors are men, most of them are over 50, and all of their traditional financial planning models that we think are gender neutral are actually based on the average man.
Right.
And this happens everywhere. Like, did you know that seatbelt safety testing based on, the average person is based on the average man? And so women literally get injured and die from seatbelts more than men do because of that. And so that same thing is happening in the financial world. So they don't take into account the fact that women tend to live longer than men, right? We have differences in our career paths and financial goals. And so women end up with less money at retirement, but it has to last us longer. So while I'm happy to support, anybody, regardless of gender identity, I have a special place in my heart for women entrepreneurs because traditional financial advice is super frustrating and sometimes even detrimental.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I'm building a network in India, G100, female CEOs and wealth creation. And so our focus is financial literacy for women in India because I totally agree with what you're saying, that the system is rigged up for men, you know.
Yeah.
And if the women find themselves without that support, they don't know what to do with it. They can, there are so many amazing women in India who are generating a lot of money, but then they kind of push it over to their men, either the husband, the brother, the uncle, the son, because they say, I don't know how to invest in it. I don't know what to do with it. And then, they're afraid of taking that risk. But I believe, with my understanding, women are take calculated risk. They are better in taking risk, but they take a calculated risk. So if we can give them those tools to understand, that kind of give them a financial understanding, I think they can do much better in many areas than the men.
I think you're totally right, Richa. I think like just a little bit of financial education goes a long way.
Mm.
And most of us never learn this at school or at home growing up. And women specifically, we get so many messages that like, oh, I'm not good with math, or it's complicated, or it's scary, or whatever. But I think that actually, like, once women get a little bit of financial literacy under the belt, I think in a lot of ways they can be better investors than men because they're not like thinking they're smarter than the stock market or trying to like go show off. They're like, oh, this is my strategy. I'm going to follow my strategy. Here we go. You know.
Yeah, and
Um,
patience,
yeah.
that they invested and then they forget about it and then go about their day and then suddenly, oh, this is all the money I have, and I just love working with it. But how did you get into this? What is your story? We love to hear about your journey.
Well, I actually have a pretty dramatic money story, which I don't think you know this about me, Richa, but when I first heard about passive income, I was in my late 20s and I was like, how come nobody has told me about this until now? Like, what the heck? I never learned any of this stuff in school. I never even heard of passive income. Nobody ever talked to me about investing or cash flow management or any of that stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? Why am I just hearing about this now? And so I decided that I was going to invest in real estate and grow businesses. And then once I became financially free, I would teach other people how to do that too. So I started with $10,000 of my own money. And in 4 years, I turned it into over $6 million in real estate.
Wow.
So cool. So I was on track to be financially free to retire by the time I was 31.
Oh,
And then something happened. The 2008 real estate crash, the global financial crisis. And I went from being right on the edge of being totally financial free to millions of dollars in debt in like what felt like overnight.
oh
My
my.
perfect credit score all of a sudden was a train wreck. And there was this whole just like domino effect through all my real estate that took me completely out. And I ended up being forced to declare bankruptcy. I ended up losing my own home to foreclosure. And from that moment, I was like terrified that I was going to come home and find the locks changed and my pets trapped inside.
Mm.
My electricity got turned off. I couldn't afford to get it turned back on. It was bad, like really, really bad. And right in the middle of losing everything, going bankrupt, losing my house, scrambling to find a new place to live, not being able to get the electricity turned back on, I received an invitation. And it was an invitation to be part of a high-level mastermind on Necker Island, which is Richard Branson's private island in the
Oh,
Caribbean.
okay.
And it was a $50,000 investment for 6 days. Um, and you have to understand, like I had no credit lines, I had no income, I had no business signing up for a mastermind like that. But they said when they said the dates, it started on my birthday, and I just got this like intuitive hit, like this just like rush of light coming through me that I was supposed to be there. And I'm like, really? Self, you're kidding me, right? 50 grand. And I had to come up with 50 grand in 4 days. There's no payment plans, no refunds. And amazingly, I did it.
Hmm.
And I'm really glad because that was the beginning of turning everything around. So what really was really amazing about this is the facilitator of that group announced publicly that he wanted to win a Nobel Prize for single-handedly turning the global economy around. And I was like, what? Like that really inspired me. And so one night, all the rest of the people in the mastermind were having like a game night down in the main house. And I just felt called to go up to the crow's nest, which is like the very tippy top, highest point of the island. And I was sitting there on the crow's nest with this like warm Caribbean breeze, with this question: what could I do to single-handedly turn the global economy around?
Hmm. Yeah.
And it was like right there on that like beautiful warm night, just being open and quiet, that I got the download. Can I share what I came up with?
Yes, please.
Awesome. I'm still so excited about this. So, what I realized is that everybody has their own personal economy, and it may or may not have anything to do with the economy at large. So, there were people on Necker Island having their best year in business ever. Well, I was in the middle of losing everything. And I
Mm,
knew that was the same for people that I knew back home. And I'm like, oh my God, if I can support enough individual women entrepreneurs to
mm,
shift their own personal economy to one of abundance, then we're going to eventually we'll hit a tipping point,
mm.
and that'll shift the economy of the community, the country, the world, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, let's do this. And I started making microloans to women entrepreneurs in Asia, Africa, South America, because I wanted to have a positive global impact right away. And I started working with women to shift their own personal economy, and that's created such a ripple effect in my own life and in the lives of others. Because now I'm happy to say that I have a healthy seven-figure business doing what I love and feel like I was put on this earth to do. I have my own level of financial freedom. And now I work about 25 hours a week in my business and have plenty of time to be with my two little kids. I have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old right now, and I can also pay for support in my business and in my life. So like someone else could take care of the kiddos. So I could do stuff like be here with you today. So that's what I want for everyone. And I have lived through some people's worst nightmares financially. So I'm more passionate than ever about supporting entrepreneurs, especially women, to avoid some of those terrible and painful mistakes that I've made. And also, if you face challenges in your own life, like a lot of us have, because nobody ever taught us this stuff, then I can show you how you can, rise like a phoenix from the ashes and rebuild and recover. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Amazing story. Beautiful. It has all both, that I can relate to losing everything, but then the magical moments, when you pivot and you understand the big plan for you. That's amazing. Thank you. But I love the part where you also said that you got the money to
Yeah.
go 50,000. I mean, I think those are the moments where we get tested. And I just love it, when people say, but I managed to get it. I got some this money from somewhere I have didn't expect. I borrowed, and they managed to do it and it changes their life. That shows that if we truly want it, we can get it. I say that to all of my clients. If you really want it, then you will get the money, because money is just an energy that you can just attract, but you need to want it enough to do all of that.
Yeah, it also reminds me of that quote, like the moment you commit or make a decision, the universe conspires to assist you. And I felt like, okay, if this is where I'm supposed to be and that's the message that I'm getting, then universe freaking help me make it happen. And I wasn't just like sitting there hoping $50,000 would show up.
No.
I said, okay, inner critic, go take a coffee break. I'm going to come up with at least 10 ways that I could make it happen, no matter how crazy, and maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't, but I'm going to get into possibility
Yeah.
consciousness
Yeah.
instead of being and I can't, right? And the truth was, like, I couldn't just borrow the money because my credit was trashed. I couldn't pull from savings or retirement because I'd already wiped those things out. So most of the like easiest avenues available to most people weren't available to me. So I had to get creative. So
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, what's something I could sell for $50,000 in the next 4 days? Could I come up with some like really killer VIP offer and have a client wire me the money in time for me to wire it to these guys, right? Could I sell 50,000 of a dollar thing? Could I sell 10 $5,000 things, or five $10,000 things? And so I broke down the math like that. The program came with some bonuses. So I was like, could I maybe sell the bonuses? Do I have any lazy assets that survived the bankruptcy that I could sell? Would somebody be willing to sponsor me to
Mm,
go to this? Like no one in their right mind would lend me money, right? But maybe they would sponsor me for this
mm.
in exchange for a percentage of my revenue, because I couldn't commit to a set payment or a set interest rate. But if I could find somebody that believed in my future income potential, I could give them a percentage of future income. So I
Ah,
came up with all these ideas, and what ended up working was a combination of several of them. So I was able to sell one of the bonuses. I had a credit from this mentor. Well, not it wasn't I had already bought a program that came as a bonus. And that was $5,000 of it. I asked if they would apply that, and they said yes. And then I did get a sponsor for the remainder in exchange for a percentage of my revenue until I paid them back 150% of what they had, rented me. And I floated that deal to multiple people, and it ended up being one person that was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do the remaining amount that you need, you know? But what I want you to get listening to this is the process. Like what ended up working for me might not be the same things that end up working for you, but making that list of like creative ideas, it gets you into creativity and possibility instead of just shutting your mind down. And I think that that is a really powerful prosperity practice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is amazing. I love that. I love these beautiful stories and very, very inspiring. And I think that belief that if I can do it, or if she can do it, then I can do it. Then that belief, if somebody can get that, it can move, it can change their whole life and whole financial situation. It's just that people don't believe it applies to them until they are put on that spot. But you have gained so much experience, with this roller coaster. How do you now teach that to women? How is this accessible for others if they want to learn from you?
Yeah, well, one of the things I realized is there's a big difference between making money and keeping money, right? Keeping and growing money. Like there's the make money world where you're like exchanging time, value, but like you're putting energy into generating money through, attracting clients or whatever it is, right? Versus keeping and growing money, like that's a whole different skill set.
Mhm.
And so I was really good at making money, but I didn't realize that there were some systems I was missing with keeping and growing money, right? And so I had to build those systems. Like for example, cash flow management. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know managing cash flow was a thing. Okay. No one told me, right? And you might be like, wow, that's super obvious. Or you might be like, what's she talking about? Because maybe somebody told you or didn't tell you, right? But like if I knew back then what I know now, I I probably could have kept my house. I definitely could have kept my electricity on because I had properties that were positive cash flow. So like, why did I stop paying the mortgages on them?
Mm.
Doesn't make any sense. But I will tell you that when somebody is in financial crisis like that, it's like your prefrontal frontal cortex just goes offline and you're all in your amygdala, which is all about just loading up fear responses. And so you're just like trying to survive and trying to respond and like pay whoever yells the loudest. And you are like not thinking clearly. All right. You are not making the best decisions. I was not making the best decisions.
Mm.
I agreed to pay $500 a month on my home equity line because a collector called and made me cry, which a lot of them are trained to like elicit an emotional response. So you hand over your grocery money to them, right? So I agreed to do this. And Richa, I want you to understand how completely insane this was because I couldn't make the first mortgage payment. So the property was going to foreclosure. Why would I agree to pay the second mortgage and not have enough to eat or keep the electricity on? Like, what?
Mm.
What? I just was like scrambling to pay whoever yelled loudest, and I didn't take into account how I would cover my basic human needs, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
And so so now I've created a whole system of basically like a system of systems that I call your entrepreneurial wealth blueprint, which is the systems you put together to turn your business into a vehicle for creating wealth and freedom,
Mm.
not just generating income.
Mm.
So we start with like how to generate abundant and consistent income in your business, and then how to manage that cash flow, and then how to invest some of that according to a strategy to build passive income for the future. And then also like how to manage it, make sure that all your bases are covered, that you have enough for all of your expenses and for investing and having a cash cushion in case of emergencies and saving up for specific things. And so now you have a whole system of managing your money where all your bases are covered and you're not scrambling,
Mm.
right? So I had the experience of scrambling. Like I have an event-based business, and I've had that for a long time. And so I would make, $60,000 or $200,000. And then suddenly a few months later, I would have a big bill and I'd be like scrambling, trying to figure out how to cover it. And I'm like, I make a lot of money. What is happening right now? And it
Yeah.
was because I didn't understand. I didn't have a good system for managing that. And I do take a systems approach to all of this because humans are not naturally good at handling money in terms of like keeping, managing, growing money. Like we have no instinct for that. We're naturally bad at it. We are wired, Richa, for instant gratification,
Mm.
right? Just put a donut in front of me long enough and see where that goes. You know, for about 15 or 20 minutes, I'll be like, nope, 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 nope. And then once my willpower, which works like a muscle that gets fatigued from use, gets fatigued, I'm eating it,
Yeah.
right? And so like that served us well for whatever survival reasons in the past in our evolution, but it doesn't serve us well when it comes to planning long term for
Mm.
your money, right? So you have to put a system in place that works with your natural human behavior instead of trying to like overcome it and willpower and muscle through it, right? So my Financial Freedom 101 event, we take people step by step through putting all those systems together in their entrepreneurial wealth blueprint so that by the end of the 3 days, they have all the money skills, tools, and systems they need to become financially secure for the rest of their lives. So in just 3 days, like we give people that financial education that they should have gotten in school or at home growing up, but never did,
Mm.
right?
Nice.
So that's the system that I've taken myself through to create financial freedom myself and to continue to make good money decisions and manage cash flow. And now, of course, I have much bigger obligations with my passion business, my team, and all of that. But I have the flow and I have the systems so
Mm.
that we're on it like a bonnet when it comes to paying team, paying affiliates, on time, like clockwork, time for taxes. Here you go. Here's all my stuff. Like it's a whole new world.
Yeah.
And I love it. And that's what I want for all the
But
women listening to this conversation.
nice. And you said it was a 3 days program. Is it an online program?
Yeah, we used to only do it in person in California, and people had to fly. We had people fly from Europe and all around the United States and Canada to attend the event. And I always wanted to make it more accessible, but I didn't know how to create that same magic of a
Mm.
live event online. And finally, with Zoom, we finally figured out a way to do it. So now it's all online on Zoom just like this. So you don't have to travel, you don't have to pay for a hotel room or plane fare. You can just attend right from the comfort of your own home or office, with your slippers on if you want to. And it is an experiential event. So we send out this beautiful custom box of goodies,
Oh.
and it has resources and a workbook to support you before, during, and after the event
Mm.
on your financial freedom journey. It has your entrepreneur wealth blueprint, so you can like pull it out, put it on your wall, customize it for your business and your systems. It has the path to prosperity with the 8 milestones, so you can like map out where you are and track your progress like a game board. It's really cool. And so we do a lot of these things to make it experiential and fun, even though we're on our computers, including, we got some corks. So not an accident. Don't throw these out. This is for an experiential exercise that we do on day one of the event. So we do as much as possible to make it, fun and connected and not just, a webinar,
Yeah.
but like have it be a whole immersive experience
Mm.
online. And I'm happy to say that's worked really well.
Yeah, I
You
can
know, so
imagine when
yeah,
people are being active and they have concrete exercises they can do. That's when most of the people learn the best, when they can be interactive instead of just sitting and listening. But
yeah.
amazing. That's so. And the dates for this, do you have an upcoming program soon or yeah?
Well, we like to do this 3 times a year, so you can just jump into whichever one fits
Mm.
your schedule. If then, you can see, we'll put a link in the show notes,
Yes.
and you can see the dates. If those dates don't work for you, you can reach out to my team and say, "Hey, I need to transfer to the next one," and we'll transfer you at no charge. And that way, you can find dates that work for you, and off we go.
Wow. I'm so glad that we connected. But I have a question, Penelope. You
Hit
do
me up.
all of this and amazing mother and a business owner, now a financial freedom mentor and helping so many women. Um, but how do you define success?
Well, I define success as the consistent pursuit of a worthy goal.
Hmm.
Because the truth is, like, we want to believe that success is like this linear path up, but really it's more like it's all over the place,
Oh,
right? And
yeah.
often when you look at a really successful person, they are standing on a giant pile of failure, 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 failure. And like every failure is a stepping stone
Hmm.
to their success. And so I want to like normalize that journey, normalize that as you're putting yourself out there, as you're growing your business, as you're making these decisions, like you're gonna, you're gonna fail. And so the there's another one that's like the only way to fail is to quit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that, in business for yourself, there's mentors you can model, there's supports you can get. Like if you are consistently moving forward, you're successful, even if you've had a temporary setback. And then you can look at every failure as like, okay, this is just a temporary setback to make me more relatable when I success story. Like, I mean, when my money story, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It was brutal going through, right? I'm still like unpacking lessons from it, years later. And yet how uninspiring would it be if you're like, hey, tell us your money story, Penelope? And I'm like, well, I inherited a bunch of money and used the financial planner that my parents had, and here I am.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are like, okay, that's not helpful, right? And if that's the case, if you inherited a bunch of money, like great, if the financial planner that your parents referred you to is working for you, like great. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I think there is a lot of beauty and humanity in sharing our real challenges with each other. So that people who, when you are going through a challenge, okay, this is normal. I'm not alone. And this is my goal. I'm going to keep going for it. As long as I keep going for it, that is a success.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to describe it. That's very beautiful. And you have so many people who help you, and you say that you have you have staff and everything is going smoothly, but you still have to you're working 25 hours a week, you said, and you want to attend to your children and you take care of your health and everything. How do you manage your time? Do you have a formula? Do you have a routine? How do you manage your time?
Yeah. This is a big one because there's always more to do, right? And so this is something that I'm always looking at and like, do I need to up level how I'm managing my time? Because what's worked for me really well in the past, is that still working, right? So what I'll share some things that have been the most helpful and are still the most helpful. Number one is creating kind of like a schedule template where I'm blocking off different types of time. So time blocking.
Hmm.
The first thing that I do is I schedule in time away from my business. So I'm like, okay, I'm with my kids at this time. Like right now as we're talking, we're about to go to Legoland this weekend. So not gonna not doing any speaking gigs or anything on the weekend. We're gonna be going to Legoland. So this is the time when I'm working out. Later today, I'm getting a massage. So like, there's the away from business time, right? And then what's left, like my business has to fit in that. And
Not
then the second
found.
time,
It's
the
not that
second,
found, which is a huge lesson to, hey, people, are you listening? She has booked all the things that she wants to do, and then she says the business has to work inside of that schedule. That's
and
good.
I'll even pull out my calendar for the year and I'll highlight out trips that I'm taking, vacations, or also just this is a staycation week. Don't book anything, because if you don't block it out proactively, everything just gets eaten up by work because there's always more to do. And if you're like me and you freaking love what you do, this business, this is my purpose, this is my passion. I don't have to do this. I want to do
Yeah.
this very much. I love it. In fact, some people are like, thank God it's Friday. I'm like, thank God it's Monday. I get to work. Like it's the best, you know? And I could work all night. I could. But I have two accountability partners called my sons, Gabriel and Michael, who they are determined to teach me life balance because, 3:30 p.m. they're here and they are like, "Mom, you're ours now." Right? So like whether I like it or not, it's a built-in accountability system, which is really funny. So that's the recovery time. And then the second thing is called remodel time. So that's when you're working on your business. And if possible, I like to have at least 6 hours a week where I'm working on my business, like writing my next book or planning a YouTube video or, going to a networking event to connect with potential partners or something where it's not like it's something that's going to move the business forward. Maybe creating a new business system. We're really up leveling all of our systems and protocols right now because our team is growing, and it can't just all be in my head. It all has to be documented. So that's all like on the business time, and that's going to move you forward.
Mm.
And then what fits in the remainder time, that's the results time. That's when you're actually doing the thing, delivering the client session, sending out the reminder email, any of that like regular business activity that you just have to do that's like your role, that has to fit in there. And if it doesn't, that's where I'm running into now. So this is the next level of growth for me is like, okay, how do we streamline the workflows, delegate more, buy back more of my time, take more stuff off my plate so that I can get everything done in that time frame. And so I feel like that's an ongoing conversation because as you grow, you need to keep pulling off and handing off and handing off and handing off and handing off. So when I started, I've got a pretty big team now, but not that long ago, it was just me. And
Mm.
then it was just me and a part-time virtual assistant.
Mm.
And then I brought on my marketing director, and that really increased our capacity and energized me,
Yeah.
And then we brought on our JV manager, and like that really energized me. And so now, like I couldn't run my company by myself anymore. It's like way bigger than me, um, which is also like really fun and fulfilling because like not only are we reaching more people with our message that people so desperately need this education, but also there's all these families that are getting supported by this work that we're doing because they have a job, they have a role, and that's really, really cool to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It's amazing. And it's fulfilling in itself to know that. That's beautiful. Okay, so now with all the experiences that you have, and now you have a thriving, successful business, what advice would you give to the startups or upcoming young people who want to become entrepreneurs, or, a mother who wants to do a side hustle, but, have her job as well. So she's just starting out. Anybody who's just starting out, what advice would you give them?
Mhm. I think if you're just starting out, the best gift you can give yourself is some mentorship, like model success. That's something that I learned early on, and it freaking changed my life because I did a whole series of personal development trainings where I was flying back and forth between the San Francisco Bay Area where I live and Salt Lake City, Utah. And I flew back and forth about every 2 weeks for a year. It was a lot. And at the end of that, I distilled like what I really wanted to do with my life. I'm like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a speaker and trainer and write books and create programs and like really support people with their financial literacy, and help them become financially free. That's something I've just always been so passionate about. And so I decided to do a little workshop, a little 90-minute workshop, and I charged $10 for it. And I invited everybody I knew, and 9 people came, Richa. So 9 people times $10 is $90. I made $90 at my first little workshop. And I was like, yay, achievement unlocked. Like I was living my dream. It was so exciting, but I had no idea where to go from there.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, I already invited everybody I know. Like, and then I got invited to attend a workshop. Actually, my mom got invited to attend a workshop, and I happened to be there while she was checking her email. And I was like, that sounds really cool. I want to go. And it was a workshop for coaches and holistic practitioners on how to attract more clients. And I thought, well, I'm not a coach or holistic practitioner. I was full-time in real estate. But I was like, that event sounds really cool. I want to go. And I decided to crash it. And at that event, they made an offer, as people do at events occasionally, for continuing education. And they shared that they help people, speak from stage, create group programs, basically everything I wanted to do. And I
Mm,
was like, oh my God. It was like the universe opened a door I didn't even know was there.
mm,
And just like put a staircase in front of me. Like all I had to do was take one step and the next and the next, and then I could, reach my goal, which seemed so like up high and like how would I ever get there? It was like they were just like handing me everything I wanted on a golden platter. I had already invested, oh my God, like over $100,000 in my education at that point. So I was like, oh my God, I can't sign up for another thing. But that was like exactly what I've been asking for. And so I finally did decide to sign up.
mm.
And with what I learned from them before I even completed the program, I did a 2-day workshop and I did an offer I pre-sold a 90-day program that didn't exist yet, the way they taught me. And in 2 days, Richa, I made $52,000.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God. I didn't I didn't know people could do that. I mean, oh my God. I was shocked. And so if you do the math on it, it ends up being a 2,344% ROI or return on investment in my first year in that program. By the end of the year, I had made about $220,000 in my new passion business. And since then, I've made millions and millions and millions of dollars, probably like $8 to $10 million
Mm.
directly from what I learned there. And if I had just kept going on my own, like I don't know, I'd probably be working at Starbucks. But because I got that mentorship, I was able to basically leverage all of their learning and their systems and their mindset and their templates. And so I would say find somebody that's doing something like what you want to do and hire them, or if you can't afford to hire them, at least start by reading their books.
Yeah.
Like start with like whatever you can. Hiring them is going to be best. But learn from people who have already done all that, learning curve, so you don't have to totally reinvent the wheel. So model success, that is my big tip for newer entrepreneurs. And in terms of something that's going to set you up for success long term, um, I would, put those financial systems in place now so that you're actually moving towards wealth and freedom instead of just generating income.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to check out Financial Freedom 101. And actually, Richa, can I share like a secret hack for getting a special deal on that event?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, so here's the secret hack. I have a downloadable ebook called The Financial Freedom Formula. It's a quick read, it's bite-sized but powerful, and you can get it with the link in the show notes or go to financialfreedomgift.com, financialfreedomgift.com, and you can download the ebook. You just put in your name and email. Okay. Now, on the next page, this is the secret hack because if you just go to my website, tuition for Financial Freedom 101 is $1,497, which totally worth it. But if you use the secret hack, you can come with just a $97 seat deposit, which
Wow.
which we will give back after the event. So it's a full scholarship. The reason we ask for the deposit is because we are going to send you the beautiful box and of custom materials. So we want you to like plan to come. If you
Exactly.
can't come, let us know. We'll give you your deposit back. If you do come, we'll give you your deposit back the week after the event. But when you use that special hack, you can get a full scholarship to the event. So use the link in the show notes or financialfreedomgift.com. Or, I mean, if you want to go to my website and pay $14.97, that's fine. But this way you have an extra, roughly $1,500 that you can put towards investments instead.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. That is so generous of you, Penelope. That is so generous. People, there is no question about it. You need to get to the event, and I think you can learn a lot. Uh, I mean, even if you know the stuff, there's always good to repeat and always good to put the system in place. I mean, she's giving you the opportunity to empower yourself and change your financial situation. So there's no question about it. Go and we will share the link. Thank you so much, Penelope. And guys, if you want to stay connected with Penelope, we'll share all of her social media and page and everything. So you can just go follow her and stay connected with her and see the amazing magic that she creates in the world. Penelope, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for enlightening us, giving us the knowledge, and sharing your story. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Richa. I appreciate you. Love geeking about money. And if you are coming to Financial Freedom 101, I'm excited to see you there.
Definitely. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself and to others.